A tiny spacecraft rises from Earth and disappears into a sky that gives no hint of where it is going. There is no bright destination ahead, no visible beacon, nothing waiting at the end of a straight line. Somewhere far beyond the familiar planets, a comet is already moving through space on its own journey. It will not slow down, it will not wait, and a spacecraft called Rosetta has just begun a chase that will last more than a decade. At first, the problem seems obvious. The comet is simply too far away. A moving point in the darkness. A destination separated by an almost unimaginable distance. The spacecraft leaves Earth carrying enough fuel for a carefully planned mission. But even from the beginning, its path looks strange. Instead of heading directly toward the target, Rosetta starts drawing wide loops across the solar system. The route bends past planets. It returns toward places it has already left. On mission diagrams, the journey resembles choreography more than travel. The comet continues moving ahead. Rosetta continues following. And the distance between them refuses to explain why the route looks so complicated. As the years pass, the spacecraft swings past Earth and Mars, borrowing tiny amounts of momentum from each encounter. The planets are no longer destinations. They have become tools. Each flyby happens at a specific moment. Arrive too early, and the geometry is wrong. Arrive too late, and the opportunity is gone. The pursuit is beginning to look less like transportation and more like timing. The comet remains far away, but something else is becoming visible. The chase survives only if a chain of future events happens exactly when it must. One successful maneuver depends on another. One opportunity depends on the next. The spacecraft is not merely crossing space. It is crossing windows, and every window closes behind it. The years continue accumulating. Earth becomes a distant memory. The sun grows weaker. Rosetta moves into regions where sunlight provides so little energy that staying fully awake is no longer practical. Then, one day, the spacecraft falls silent. Its instruments shut down. Most of its systems power off. The chase enters hibernation. In images and animations, Rosetta drifts through deep space alone, carrying years of planning into darkness. The comet is still moving. The destination is still escaping. But now the pursuer has gone quiet. The mission clock continues. The opportunity continues. Yet from Earth, there is almost nothing to see. No corrections. No new images. No reassuring signs of activity. Only the knowledge that a wake-up signal must arrive years later if the pursuit is to continue. The silence changes the feeling of the story. Before, the challenge was reaching the comet. Now the challenge is keeping the chase alive at all. Far from the sun, surrounded by cold and darkness, Rosetta travels onward without speaking. Then the signal arrives. A faint transmission crosses space. The spacecraft has awakened. After years of silence, the chase resumes. Ground controllers receive confirmation that Rosetta is alive. The pursuit that seems suspended begins moving forward again. And soon, for the first time, the comet starts appearing as more than a distant calculation. Small images arrive. A strange shape emerges from the darkness. As the spacecraft approaches, the target grows larger. A two-lobed world appears where there was once only an invisible point. The destination finally has a face. It would be easy to think the story is almost over. After all, Rosetta has traveled for more than 10 years. It has survived the long route. It has awakened from hibernation. The comet is now visible. Surely success means arrival. Yet something no longer fits. The closer Rosetta gets, the more attention shifts away from distance. The spacecraft is approaching the comet, but the comet is still racing through space. Getting near it is not enough. A spacecraft can arrive and still fail. Images alone cannot complete the mission. Proximity alone cannot complete the mission. The comet is not a mountain waiting to be climbed. It is a moving object following its own path around the sun. Rosetta must do something more difficult than reaching it. It must match it. The old explanation collapses. Distance was never the real obstacle. If distance were the answer, the mission would already be finished. Instead, Rosetta spends months refining its motion, gradually synchronizing itself with the comet's speed and trajectory. The destination stops behaving like a destination. It begins behaving like a companion. Eventually, the pursuit reaches its turning point. Rosetta achieves rendezvous. For the first time, a spacecraft is not merely flying past a comet. It is traveling with one. The chase that defined the mission suddenly transforms into a shared journey. The comet remains active. Dust escapes into space. Jets emerge from its surface. Sunlight changes its appearance as it moves closer to the inner solar system. Rosetta remains nearby, observing the transformation from alongside it. The spacecraft releases the small lander Philae toward the surface, then continues escorting the comet through its changing environment. Years earlier, catching the comet felt like the finish line. Now catching it looks like the beginning. The object that once seemed unreachable has become a constant presence. Rosetta and the comet move together. But the disappearing opportunity has not vanished. It has merely changed form. As the mission continues, sunlight conditions shift again. Power becomes more limited. The operating window begins narrowing. The same reality that governed the pursuit from the beginning returns once more. Time moves in only one direction. Eventually, mission planners choose a final destination. Not another planet. Not a return to Earth. The comet itself. Rosetta descends slowly toward the object it spent more than a decade chasing. The gap closes. Images continue arriving. Surface details grow larger. The companion fills the frame. Then the spacecraft reaches the comet and ends its mission there. The opening image was a tiny spacecraft leaving Earth in pursuit of something invisible. The final image is a spacecraft resting beside the object it spent years trying to catch. In the beginning, the comet looked like a destination. Then it became a moving target. Then a disappearing opportunity. By the end, it became something else entirely. Rosetta did not succeed because it crossed a great distance. It succeeded because it learned to travel in step with something that never stopped moving away.